Spiral, 2 Jews, 2 mics, 2 hours, starting now.
Can you hear me?
I can indeed.
Well, that's because what I do is I spend extra time when we're off. I spend extra time going over the gear, making sure that the inputs are right, making sure that I have low impedance. Do you have low impedance, or are you going with a high? Here, for Christmas time. I tried to do a snore. So close. So close. Hey, did I ever tell you that story about when my mother didn't give me a stocking? The first 3 are good. You know, I don't have the right mix of mucosa, as I've often said. I haven't gone to that school.
Yeah.
Well, how are you, sir?
I'm pretty well. How are you?
I'm very good. I have a new walking. What do we call these? Walking on the same side of the street as people stories. This might be a better one than the one previously. Do you know what I'm going to talk about? I teased it with a tweet last night.
No, I didn't. I did not see the tweet.
Yeah, you don't follow my tweets closely on Sundays?
I
So I'm walking down my street, Fulton, right? I get out of my door.
Mr. Misdirect.
I make a left, and I'm on Fulton, which is a great street to walk down, I assume. I have to go to Google Maps and see if it is. So now I'm walking under the underpass, and the only mistake I made, there was no mistake, but as it gets towards dark, it is a little bit dicier than it is in full daylight. In other words, someone could stab me and they probably couldn't be seen as well, right? So,
by its very nature of darkness, yes.
By its very nature. Right. So I'm walking on, and I'm going to tell you this whole story, and then totally, I'm going to cop to everything, and you'll tell me how you think I did. So I see this guy, and he's over by the LA River.
Okay.
And I'm going under the underpass. He's on the same side of the street as me, and I see he's got some items there. I think he's a homeless guy. He's got some items. Okay. Right? He starts walking towards me, waving his hands.
Wildly waving his
wildly,
hands.
All right?
Above his head, it seems.
Yes. Now I'm on the other side of the street where the other problem was. I'm on the right side of the street. And I look to my left. What I would normally do is either run or pretend I have a call. There's cars. I could get killed if I stepped into the gutter of the street. Okay. Right? So now I'm right up with him. Now he's right on me. And he's saying, I don't know what he's saying. He's saying, what do I do? What do you think my method is? What is my strategy at that point? Can you guess it?
Point to your earphones and just keep walking.
I took out a $20 bill and I gave it to him.
Yeah.
Just took it right out of my wallet, gave it to him.
Yeah.
And he stopped. Whatever the thing that he was saying was, what he was telling me, which I don't know what it was. Something had happened to him by the LA River. He said, he kind of thanked me, walked a few steps away. He said, I used to be a homeowner. Okay, so now he's by his stuff now, and I'm walking by. He goes, do me a favor. Do me a favor. Can you watch my stuff while I go down and get another thing? Yeah. I wish I could explain this to you in the proper way. On the LA River, on both sides of the river, it's like a fencing that goes down to concrete.
Right.
Right? So he says, wait.
And there's water in there rushing pretty good still, I imagine.
Yes, water's rushing good. So he goes, if you could just wait for me 1 second. So he disappears down, and I look down, and there's only fence and the concrete wall right under the underpass. Where has he gone? Where has he gone? I said, sir, I have to get here. So I finally walked to the other side of the thing. I don't want, because here's the thing. He said, look at my winter coat. Is that not nice? Not winter coat. Is that not a nice coat? And it happened to be a nice coat that he was pointing out. So,
to be honest, it was a lovely coat.
But now I'm feeling all the guilt. He told me to watch his stuff.
I think it's a Jimmy O. I think it might be a Jimmy O.
Well, he did have a Jimmy O bag. Short men, 5'8" and under, which I thought was odd because he was 6 feet. But I'm now I'm in guilt ridden. Now I was like, what if something happens to his stuff and I'm gone? Right? Next time he sees me, he'll be upset. So then I go to the other side of and I notice that he is now, he goes, I'm coming back. I don't know where he was. He was slipping in between the fence and the cement. And and I don't know what the area that he went to that he could get to. And then he went back up the hill. And then his final thing was, he said, why can't you take a leak in a Beatles concert?
Wow.
I say, why? He says, because there is no God.
Is that true? Is that true? Or is this something you
That's
added?
exactly true. 100%. I really would feel guilty because I don't like the David Sedaris.
It's an AI joke. It's like one of the. Have you seen some of the comedy that AI is
and
writing?
I actually thought it was a great. See, I think the joke's very funny. Like you're at a Beatles concert and you would like to just pee right there.
Yeah.
Why couldn't you be able to pee?
Because there's no God.
Right. So that's what I think the joke is. Am I right about that?
I don't think you can actually make. I think the joke is just the bizarreness of the statement. I don't think you should parse it beyond that. I don't think you can.
Well, I tweeted it and I said, "Look, this was the joke. I don't know if it's his. So far, no one has claimed ownership of that joke."
Funny.
Yeah. So I don't like the David Sedaris thing that he started to do in his recent
Sounds like
books.
a Will Jordan line.
He's the guy that did Ed Sullivan, if anybody wants to know. I don't like what David Sedaris, in his last few books, he lies. He's basically making up stuff that happens.
Yeah.
I don't like to do that with a story like that because what's the point?
Right. No, I'm with you.
Yeah.
If it's, if something magical happened, it happened. If not, you can't force it.
Now, what would have been you? Remember, if it had been you're taller.
Right.
You're not looking up at the guy.
Right.
And he's right up on you.
I certainly would have been concerned with the guy wildly waving his arms coming at me.
Right, and yelling about a problem.
Yes. I wouldn't have had earphones in, most likely. So I probably would have caught the first few words faster than you.
Oh, I just had a podcast in, so I definitely heard what he was.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard what he was saying. Yeah, I'm not even sure I started. I just had left my house on Fulton and started to walk up Ardmore, which is a road in Hermosa Beach.
I admire your panic generosity.
Yeah, I mean, don't go small, right? A dollar bill is only going to cause more conversation, is what I thought.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I didn't even have a choice.
A dollar bill can't buy you out of conversation these days like it used to. But no, I would have. What I can tell you is, if the same beats happened, I would have ended up standing there waiting to watch his stuff as well.
Yeah, that's right. Because there was no problem with it. That wasn't a problem because I could see he's going down. If I had a problem, I could get away if he's really
right.
He was really not. You shouldn't expect that someone who's waving their arms is going to hurt you, but they could on the street.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mental illness is a wild card you can't discount.
Right.
But
although I have a mental illness discount card.
I bet you have several. Just get him out of here. Whatever money he has, just get him out of here. So, I think you handled it way better than the runaway option.
The runaway option. Oh, my God.
And I mean, the only difference is I probably wouldn't have pulled out the 20.
Right.
I would have engaged and tried to see if he actually had a coherent ask, But
really
but
good.
like I said, I would have ended up standing there watching his stuff like you did.
Yeah. Well, did I tell you about the time that I did walk away from a person? I given the person money. He was by the post office.
Yeah.
So I gave the person money and $1 or whatever. And then I start walking home on Fulton, and he starts waving. He's all of a sudden over there. He's waving his hands and he's coming up to me. And I just got freaked out. I just walked wide around him. Yeah. I've seen him once again since then, and he's waved at me again. So maybe he does know me, or maybe that is the way I'm going to die.
Well, I'm sorry. I went off of my own little thing in my head. You gave money to a guy and now he waves at you. Is that
I gave money to the post office as I was walking home. Yeah. He was on the same street I was at, coming down from the post office.
Yeah.
So, and he saw, hey. I just given him money. I didn't know what the hey was.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was we went to school together. This is a counterfeit dollar, but I was scared. I just walked away.
Yeah.
That's I'm not proud of it.
Well, it doesn't need to haunt you, though.
No, it doesn't. Because I have other things.
I mean, I think your own personal sense of safety, whether it involves
was wrong or right,
some sort of social, faux pas or perceived social faux pas, is okay.
What would you start thinking about? You said in your own mind.
Oh, my advice to you.
Okay.
Is based on your story. Is if your general proclivity is to give money to somebody, I would not keep it in your wallet. So you don't have to take out your wallet for that transaction.
That is very smart.
Because the wallet then becomes exposed.
Yeah, especially with me, and I'm like, hey, I can't. How many cards do you take out when you go?
I would keep some loose bills in your jean pocket or whatever.
Yes, I will do that. God, do I want to take, it's off the top, if I really want to take karate again, and there's a place near here that looks good, but I can't. I mean, I'm saying I'm not keeping up with my current obligations.
Yeah, but you have time. It's not a question of a lack of time. That's
senior citizen. No, it's my problems. It's a senior citizen. Do you have time to do your karate once a week? I think you do, old man. Old man River. Why, are you doing a lot of gigs? Are they conflicting with you? No, not at all. No, they have many clashes at many times.
Yeah, I
like the vibe though. Oh, wow. I liked the vibe.
What do you have to lose?
And I looked in there 4 or 5 times, and there's like I assume he's a Japanese fella. He might not be a Japanese fella.
Is it karate or taekwondo?
It's karate. Okay. It's karate and another kind of, a certain type of karate that I can't remember. I don't think it's kung fu. It's some other type of Japanese karate. So maybe just karate. But I looked at him, and he was great. He had this all ages class with all these kids, a couple of kids. I just have liked this guy's style, and he doesn't seem crazy like my ex-teacher.
Well, it doesn't sound like there's probably a lot of people who are crazy like your ex-teacher. I mean, I think there's probably crazy, but maybe not just like that.
No, not to that degree. But I think that the martial arts does draw a lot of characters who want to.
I think so. I would agree with that.
You saw Karate Kid, right?
Sure. Bunch of assholes and then one good guy.
Well, the asshole's back has his own show now, right?
Yes, but he's a good guy now.
He's a good guy. I knew he was playing a role back then.
Our friend Ken Daly was one of the Cobra Kai guys when he was a kid.
In the movie?
Yeah, Karate Kid.
Oh,
not a prominent Cobra Kai guy, because I can't ever find him in there, but I believe him.
What a life he's had, huh?
Yes. And in the past, he's listened to our show. I think he might be done with us now. But
who could listen on who knows us going in could stick with it forever? I don't know.
I don't know. But God bless every one of you.
God bless. No. First of all, I want to jinx everything.
I know our friend Tony DeSanta is still out there. Hey, Tony.
Hey, don't say. And
we
Jake
got
Hogan.
more. Oh, there's more. Jake Hogan's on board.
Jake Hogan he responded. I think we talked to him already.
Yes, we did.
That.
We did,
right.
yes.
We've covered that.
Yeah.
You know, I have almost an encyclopedic memory of the previous shows, but it's a world book.
That's not a good joke.
I've done that joke 12 times.
Yeah, it's not a good joke because World Book isn't like uncredible with people. It's just old.
No, it was funny when I would say it was it's a 1949 World Book.
Okay.
So I know everything.
Right,
I don't know anything about the Korean War. So that makes it work.
All right.
But you're right that people wouldn't know that of the 3 major dictionaries, the 3 major encyclopedias, the World Book was kind of laughed at. We had a World Book, and I know I was mocked a little bit.
I was mocked for my World Book.
Yeah, because it didn't have as much information as your Britannica.
I don't remember any kind of encyclopedia bias growing up. I think World Book.
Did you have them?
No.
Well, that's why.
But my library did.
Well, your parents' library did?
No.
The library at school?
Yeah, and the St. Louis Park Library.
Whoa! I didn't know you spent time at the library like the Unabomber.
Yeah, exactly like the Unabomber.
Wait, did he spend time at the library? No, I don't think he did so much.
No, but he sent bombs to them.
Right. That guy was, that guy's he's out there, is what I always say about him. Did you get more information about your back that you were going to see? Going to an appointment, I thought?
It's next week. I'm going to the neurologist, pain guy.
I'm going to a neurologist, too. So if you said, how do you think you can measure how fast a narcissistic person switches the subject? How fast was that? That was instant.
It's usually one interchange. It's my experience. It's like it's faster than you can get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop.
I never liked them that much.
Tootsie Pops? I still like them. I still like them.
Wow. Not good for your teeth at the end. If you go, you don't want to do that.
It's the noises that hurt your teeth more than the candy.
Oh, I had something else to go on. I was going to go. Oh, nope, just let it go.
You watched the Police Andy Summers doc.
Yes, and in fact, I'm going to go to my notes.
That. Yes.
I'm going to go to my notes. You know what my notes are?
Are the texts where I said save it for the show?
Right. And here's how obnoxious I am.
Oh, I know how obnoxious you are.
No, but this is another edition of it. Just to get more points with you, which I don't know, what am I trying to score points with you for?
I don't know that I'm giving them out, but okay.
I was going to text to you the story, just a brief thing about the homeless person, and then say, this is going to be where I'm going to be reading from tomorrow. It won't be the point of me bothering you. It was at 10 o'clock at night. I would have been bothering you.
You would have been.
That's right. You would have been.
At any hour, let's be honest.
Okay, so we talked. It started out by us talking about the walking from Memphis.
I'm sorry, since you have it on notes in front of you, let me interject. Yeah. The homeless guy story was way better than the circling around the black guy story.
Well, that's why I never chose to tell that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not a good storyteller. So I just saw Can't Stand Losing You, the police. Okay, so yeah. Well, this isn't helping me. All right, look. It's a really great doc, and the thing about it is that Andy Summers got obsessed with still photography when they started touring with the police. Also, I don't know exactly how much older that he is, but I think he's almost a decade older than the other guys. So he wrote this memoir called One Train Later or something like that. And it's really, I assume, well written because the narrative that they use from it is from his book. And the thing that he's able to capture without leaving himself out of it is they said as soon as it started to get big, it fucked all three of them. They all wanted to be the leader.
Right.
Sting, I believe that Sting did have the biggest ego of the three.
I don't know. Stuart Copeland has a huge fucking ego too.
Oh, I thought he was just like a guy like that. No,
he's a major control freak, and he talks about it like it's his band still.
Oh God, I've got to hear that now. But Andy Summers is
this is not taking any heat off Sting's ego. Don't get me wrong, but Stuart Copeland is a massive personality.
That's so funny because I just see him as kind of I see him. I went by his face, and that he's the drummer. Right. He was probably not causing too much. Right. But Sting, and I know you used to do this too when you were performing. He would perform naked from the waist up, Sting. He was showing his muscles. Right. I did that as a stand-up for many years. Sure. I think I was more comfortable, Bert Kreischer style.
Right. He stole it.
Is that Bert Kreischer?
Yeah, that's Bert Kreischer.
Does he go around shirtless?
Yes, he does.
I have to admire people who are shirtless because they really feel like what are they going to do? What are you going to? How much more comfortable?
And he's a fat guy shirtless, which is different, different than Sting's message.
Is it a temperature thing that these guys just get hot? So Sting, you see this thing.
It is a beautiful. As much as I don't agree with it as a way to do your entire stand-up career. It is, in fact, a grand way to tell the audience you are ashamed of nothing.
Yeah, the times I've seen him, he's been very funny. I don't know as much about his act, but Kreischer's funny to me. I don't know what his general thing is. So Sting is all ripped. So anyway, he's saying that all these guys every one of them wanted to be controlling the knobs.
Right.
And he said they drove the fucking engineers crazy. And the fact that he has so many great still pictures. I mean, the thing is, my favorite photographer is Susan Mountain, but he does things where he is conscious of what he's shooting. Like a lot of times you see people do snapshot stuff. You just think they're shooting to me, Linda McCartney is just shooting. But he was actually doing things like, he was so bored on the road that they were setting up shots.
Yeah, there's a lot of I saw the movie a long time ago now, so I don't remember it. But I remember his photography being largely composed.
Yeah, And you see the scene is so great at the end where it's 2007 because they had never done an official goodbye concert.
Right.
Because, they had just stopped in like whatever it was, 89 or something. They did Synchronicity was their last album.
Yeah, which was 83, I think.
Yeah, and they were I was so influenced by them when I was in cover bands and trying to make a living in music in cover bands. I mean, that was I thought they were, I was a huge Police fan, absolutely huge. And I loved Synchronicity too. But they were just saying, like, by that time, it broke up. His marriage got broke up, and then he got back together with the same woman. That's kind of a cool thing.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's so honest about it, it's like having someone from the Beatles, not the Beatles, but giving you a actual view of what it's like to be under that crucible, which I know it's always been horrible, but he's telling you why it's like the only time they could really have fun was when they were jamming for the sound checks.
Yeah.
It just changes your complete life that you had not that long ago. Their thing happened really kind of fast,
right.
Even though Summers was around for a while. So, and then they came from the punk movement, and again, Summers was saying people, used gobs of spit. They were more punky to begin with.
Yeah,
because the
ska and the punk scenes were kind of intermingled at that time.
Yeah. And you couldn't, and it's so funny because, like I always say, I would have done whatever. I always do whatever I'm going to do, no matter what people say to me, which is bullshit. Because I would have also been, if you're in their band, you would be not wanting to do. You're in this movement, so you wouldn't want to come out and go, crazy days of summer or some weird song like that. But Andy Summers got sick of people gobbing spit in his face.
Yeah, imagine.
I don't think those people who started that movement ever were into the mosh pit of it.
Right. Well, and plus he, like you said, he had 10 years more of it before these guys.
Yeah. He started really early.
To be weary of it already.
Yeah, and he was so. The other thing I like about him, that I've always liked about him, and he was one of my favorite influential guitarists in the 80s. I had a Boss Chorus CD too.
Yeah, he was a pedal master.
And such a beautiful, beautiful sound. I think he has a great sound, and I think he's a great
lot
guitarist.
Of different sounds too. I mean,
he's not limited.
It's that I don't understand. I don't understand any really of the sonics of electric guitar sounds. So,
well, the chorus you recognize, right? That's easy.
Yeah, I recognize those things.
It's almost like it's almost like reverb with a little extra schmeckle.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's the sound of the early 80s.
Right, but that's how you described it. It's like it's almost like a reverb with a little extra schmeckle. It's like that's about as well as I can describe it too.
The other thing is, no, I didn't say I had more information than you. The reason the way the wah wah pedal works is it goes wah wah wah. No, I was always anti-pedal because I didn't want to have a pedal board. I really wanted to have a clean sound. That's interesting. What you're saying is he had a fairly clean sound. So he was using his pedals.
Well, he didn't. His sounds weren't. He rarely used distortion, but he used all sorts of things to fill it out because they were a trio.
And were they a trio? Do you know in the studio too, or did they bring?
I think so.
People.
I mean, I have no. I can't. I bet there are guest musicians on some of their records, but for the most part, it was a trio.
They sound full too.
Yeah, and obviously that's largely because of him.
Well, now I was wanting to give Stuart Copeland more credit, but now I got to see the Stuart Copeland. I got to see the side of him where he's, because drummers in general.
No, there's a lot of interviews with Stuart Copeland where you go, oh yeah, that would get old.
Well, he also was fighting with Sting a lot. Oh, I think he thought he was funny, right?
And his brother is Miles Copeland, the manager and IRS Records guy.
Okay, Stuart's not from England though.
No, he's American.
Okay, but is Miles from England, or they're both?
I think they're both American.
Okay. But don't you
he
think
just has the name Miles, which makes you think he's
That's British. Right. That's what it, and Copeland, which he's like a symphony guy. He's Copeland. Aaron Copeland. But I always thought of them as British, but I always thought of Copeland as American. So
well, you're correct.
Right. But then as you say, I got fooled by so his brother was a big executive with IRS Records.
He started IRS Records.
Wow. Well, then his brother's pretty cool.
I think he was behind the Go-Go's and stuff like that.
Yeah, his brother had a good eye. There's another Copeland that was referenced too.
Aaron Copeland,
Okay, I'm done. I'm done with that one.
glad
I mean,
you
I
enjoyed
really
it.
went too far as always. I made it like the greatest movie of all time.
But no, it wasn't the greatest movie of all time, but I remember liking it, and I remember him being pretty candid.
Self-aware.
Yeah, and self-aware, which is always a charming point for me.
Well, during this...
And key for a documentary, unless...
yes.
Unless I watched the Boris Becker documentary on Apple Plus. And,
how was that?
It's okay. I mean, it's not, it's not that much of a story. He had lots of trouble after with bankruptcies and businesses and
he's in jail. He was in jail.
Yeah, I think he's in jail currently.
But no, he just got out of jail.
Oh, did he? Okay.
He was just released. He had a tough time inside.
Yeah, lots of tax problems. But it was, it was pretty much a tennis fame story. It's like tennis players have their own sort of particular set of circumstances where it's like there's always like one strong figure in their life who has either crushed them or built them up.
Yeah. So it's his father?
No, for him, I mean, they didn't do a great job, and this was the guy you hate because he insulted Obama 10 years ago.
What's his name?
Yeah, exactly.
Miles Copeland. Why can't Gibney? Alex Gibney or Gibney?
Gibney, I think.
Yeah, I have to let that go, Josh.
You probably should. That's why I brought it up so derisively.
I have actually let it go for about 6 months. I wouldn't watch any of his stuff. I think his Scientology thing I watched before I knew who he was.
He's okay. He's okay. And this is okay. He at least did, I thought, a pretty good job of going, here's Boris Becker telling the story, and the story is a little bit polished up, But he didn't dig hard to get to the alt story. He just would give you enough to go, you should question what Boris Becker's saying.
Well, I remember I used to have a joke about him because when he was complaining at some match, he didn't complain more or less than, he wasn't like a McEnroe, but he could get upset during a match. And I used to say, like, there's nothing more attractive than an unhappy German complaining.
Right.
It's just like, it's never going to look good. Like one time he was trying to get into the stadium and he didn't have his stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just my own prejudice.
Yeah. You don't, it's not like it's not in his plus column that he's German being an entitled asshole.
And
you don't come to love him in the movie.
Right.
But he at least fills out as a person. It's okay. I mean, you'll probably like it because it's tennis, and there is some good, they did let some really great tennis rallies play out.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Is it one of these 4-parters?
It's just a 2-parter. It wasn't too, and I think I read an interview with him saying it was just going to be a film, and then I kind of found out he's full of shit, and so I had to expand it to include that factor in the movie.
Well, I started watching one that is excellent, but I don't think it's in, like, I asked Susan if she wanted to watch it. She's like, no. It's a great, because it's interesting to me because he's a race walker. I'm not saying I'll ever be a race walker because it looks terrible.
It looks ridiculous.
It looks like you're trying to run, but you can't because you have to.
I can't get my feet up.
Right. But I still like I started just when no one could see me. I did a little bit of this the other day just to see what it feels like. It's
nothing wrong with a little kinetic energy,
But who needs it? I mean, I'm not competing for that. I want to walk faster, but I don't want to make it something unpleasant, which for the race walkers, they mostly hate it. It's a horrible, horrible, grinding sport. But it's about this guy who ends up doping. He won the Beijing Olympics, and I don't know how the doping happened. It's just really interesting to me.
Yeah,
plus the race walking.
Walk doping is pretty funny.
Yeah, I don't. It's like, how many, all your friends would have to make fun of you the first time that they hear, even if you're the best in the world.
I think so.
Oh, she go,
I just won the world championship in race walk. Oh, really? I should come see your race. No.
It's 50K. It's a 50K.
I'll meet you after.
And do they get disqualified all the time? I mean,
I don't know. I haven't followed the sport very closely.
But you see what they're doing. If you look at their upper body, they look like they're sprinting.
It's a real thing. I mean, it's a real athletic feat. I'm not trying to dismiss it as athleticism. It's just dumb.
No.
It's just dumb looking. It's just dumb.
It is dumb looking. But the Italians love these things like the Italians, I'm going to make a stereotype. They love these things like, I could never get into cycling. And I'm not saying you have to be Italian to get into it,
right.
but the whole thing is not.
There are a lot of mini sports in Europe. There's a lot of
where they're
smaller sports that actually have a circuit in Europe.
If I hadn't seen Breaking Away, I wouldn't even know about the Tour de France until much later in my life.
Yeah.
Is that what? Yeah, because that
wasn't the Tour de France. So.
Hold on a second. Whenever I get insulted, I get a little throat thing. No, it's not the Tour de France.
I'm having chest pains.
No, but the funny thing about that movie is that it's the Italians who are mean to him in that movie, and he thinks they're going to be so.
Yes.
He wants to be Italian.
Yeah.
The goddamn kid wants to be Italian. Whoever that actor is.
You're not a cutter. I'm a cutter. Paul Dooley, the great Paul Dooley.
Yeah, that's right. And I love that. I always thought there would be tons more of those kind of movies, but there are very few of those kind of movies that are comedies, action, learning about life. I thought they were all going to be like, they're all going to be like The Graduate. They're all going to be like, but they weren't all.
They aren't all like that, no.
They are not.
There's very few now, in fact.
There's not one Star Trek that's like that. Why did I go there?
I don't know.
Are there any funny space movies besides Spaceballs, which you said was the greatest movie that you've ever seen?
Ever seen.
Bar none.
Ever. Citizen Balls is what I call it.
I have to tell you that I am loving it. I hope, I wish, I pray that this weather would continue like it's been right now or even a couple of months ago. I love the nip in the air.
Well, it's going away soon, my friend.
You would never say to me, you should write a novel. You're so good with words, right?
I would not say that to you.
Now, you would not say that because I think I have a lot of words.
It's not that you're bad with words. It's that you're bad with novels.
Yes. I think I would go too much for the flowery. I nosed my late model sedan onto Sunset Boulevard, struggling to reach the steering wheel.
Why would you call it a late model sedan? First of all,
I got that from one of those
that's how
things.
they describe an APB. But you would.
I know. I like when they go.
No one has ever called themselves a late model sedan. I'm sorry.
I nosed my Chevy Malibu. I nosed it onto Sunset.
No.
And that's it. That's all I had. That's not enough right there.
That's not enough yet. A lot of things can happen on Sunset, though.
Do you think of yourself like you don't think of yourself? I mean, do you think of yourself? Like I saw this thing in 60 Minutes about this guy who writes historical novels. His name is David Gran, and he researches these things forever. He spends 7 or 8 years researching, and I could never. That has to be a certain brain.
It is a certain brain that I'm not.
I mean, you would not make a documentary where you had to go to, you had to learn the entire Mayan culture or something like that.
No, but I mean, I had to do a lot of research to do the J Bar doc. I mean, I found shit that he couldn't fucking believe, But
because right. I mean, I'm making a statement that's not even true.
But it's,
you do to the degree.
I mean, the thing about research is. It's the purpose of it is authenticity in what you're doing, So obviously it will inspire you as a storyteller too. As you find new facts, it sparks things in your brain. So there's a lot of use to it creatively too. But ultimately, if you're going to sort of portray a world, you don't want to be a poser dipshit. I was just talking to somebody about a documentary idea, and I was like, this is something I like, but I can't come at it like I'm an aficionado. I would have to come at it from a different way,
Yeah. I see that. But what's interesting? Like, Great Columbo. Is there an actress named Ann Baxter, maybe?
There is, yeah.
She was so great. This is the one where she's shooting a lot of stuff. She's like a famous Nora Chandler. She's a famous child actress and all this kind of stuff. So it's like, I wonder, when they're doing all the stuff, it sounded all real. What they were doing, like print it, stay in your trailer. It sounded like it was all real. But I've noticed that sometimes when you see behind the scenes show business stuff, they get sloppy sometimes.
Right.
And like they don't. It's like, how could they not get that right? Because they don't care about getting it right.
Well, yeah, or they think it's too complicated for the little people. It depends if you're writing. It depends if you're writing for idiots or smart people.
Well, Columbos are written for smart. I mean, Columbos are just.
Columbo was a pretty smart. It was a very smart show.
Yes.
But it also was network. You know, it was still primetime network fare in the 70s.
That's why. So that's why when you see how much of LA you get to see, it's really great. I mean, you really get to see cool things on Columbo. And if you like Pasadena, they've got a lot of mansions over there that were featured in the Columbos. But I saw this thing, Josh, that you would appreciate, or anybody would appreciate. I've played it several times to show Susan. It's a scene in Columbo.
Here's my impression of Susan. Stop playing it. I see it. I see it. Okay,
I see
Andy.
it.
I see it.
Well, she didn't want to see it the first time. She hit me in the head. No, so it's a scene, and so the guy's looking. He's in the Columbo scene where Nora Chandler's acting, and the guy's looking towards Nora Chandler, and behind him there's this big commotion, and Columbo comes barreling through. Right? Columbo knocks stuff down without realizing he's knocking stuff down. Everybody gets met. But here's what the guy did. As the commotion is starting, he didn't time his looking. You knew that he knew a commotion was coming, is what I'm trying to say. Like, it wasn't like, bah, what? It was like, blah. Like, as the sound was happening. Now, why did that make me happy? I don't know. Well, I never saw that guy on another thing after that.
Yeah. Well, the other thing, that's also a bad editor, too.
That's true. It may have had nothing to do with him.
Right.
Why do I blame him?
Because there were two separate shots, I assume, him reacting and Columbo coming in, right?
Well, you saw, not when you heard the sound, though.
Yeah.
When you heard the sound with him, you heard and him turning with the sound.
But the sound was
Columbo.
But the sound was off camera, right?
Yes.
So that was bad edit. You could have put this, you could have easily put the sound and had him react.
The guy could have been so I blame that. I blamed the wrong guy, but I didn't really blame him. He's nice.
Well, he's dead now, so don't worry.
He is dead, and he never got work because of people. Because there was that one rogue editor on Columbo.
Right. But he got tagged as an early reactor and never worked again.
Remember that when they all the time when they would drink something, the editor would play around with the sounds. But that wouldn't be a rogue editor. This was just a missed thing on a TV show.
Yeah.
There's a Columbo marathon every couple of months, if anybody cares, on the Sundance Channel. The Sundance Channel really flourished.
If I had to actually edit film,
yeah,
there are so many times where I would go, yeah, that's good enough.
Yes,
it's so much harder. It's so much harder. I can't imagine being a filmmaker in that way. Honestly, in a non-digital way,
My favorite
like
story
the fact that I can do almost everything to make a movie.
Yes,
is amazing to me.
I think that's fantastic. Well, I forgot I was going to say something stupid. So the Lakers are up 1-0. I was very excited to see that.
It was quite a.
And are the Knicks okay? I'm not watching anything.
The Knicks won.
Okay.
On the road.
But are they bad? Or are they okay? Or how's Ewing doing this year? John Starks.
Ewing is a step slow. Slow.
Do we still have the guy in the front office who says weird things? Who used to be on the Detroit Pistons?
Isaiah Thomas? No.
Yes.
No, it's been decades.
It's been a while?
Decades.
Since he was with the Knicks?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So who do we have? Phil Jackson? No, I don't know.
Why start?
Now, with the Lakers at home?
Lakers are on the road.
Oh.
It's good to start out the series with a road win. Come on.
You're on time. When's the next game?
Wednesday.
Okay. Well, I'll start watching.
All right.
How many rounds? Like 6 rounds, and then there's the final?
There's 3 rounds and then the final.
And when is it's like in June? Am I wrong about this?
You are correct.
Oh, boy. I'm good at complaining about nothing.
Were you even complaining?
No, I was showing off my knowledge.
Yeah, good one.
It was like that. Because I don't seem to be in any mode. Like, it's not even a mode like, I can tell you something. It's mostly the mode of, wait till here's what I know about this.
I know. It's the same narcissistic turn.
Yes. It's a component to narcissism. But if my mother was a narcissist, why would I have gotten the same element? I mean, it doesn't seem right to me. It can't run in families.
No.
Like if your mother was totally not involved and you didn't understand and she couldn't relate, and then that wouldn't get you into your own world where you were kind of involved and you couldn't understand. Does that make sense?
Sure.
I am learning more and more about my mother, and
And it's not pretty, folks.
Exactly. I did or did not tell you the Harry Cohn anecdote. And if you don't want to hear it,
you told me many Harry Cohn anecdotes.
But was it the worst thing that ever happened to him? And should I tell it to you?
Well, if the worst thing that ever happened to him was someone took a nickel, then it's that. But I bet it's something else.
Well, it's not. Okay. Spoiler alert. Okay. And stop me if I said it. All right.
What?
The epilogue of this book, King Cohn, tells a story that the guy was the head of publicity at Columbia. He had talked to this psychiatrist who told him the story. He told him the story because Harry Cohn wasn't his client, but he went to Harry Cohn. He was called to Harry Cohn's house in the middle of the night in the 40s, and Harry Cohn was like basically having a mini breakdown. And he was just like a really gruff guy and a very angry guy, so he didn't like to look at his stuff. So they get into it, and first of all, he's very mean when the guy comes over. What are you here for? He goes, well, I'm here to help you, Harry. But if you don't want me to help you, I'll leave. Which always worked with Harry if you gave it back to him.
Yeah.
If you gave his shit back to him, he was like, oh, get over here, buddy. So he tells this story. He goes, my mother never approved of me. My mother, I never got, and I started Columbia Pictures to hopefully please my mother. And she never would ever say to me until she died, even when she died. And he shows how he saved this gold ring that his father had given his mother. And he saved this, savings. He'd given his mother a $25 savings bond when Columbia started taking off. She'd never cashed it. So I don't know if that's a mean thing or that she just wanted to save it. But he says, when he tells this story. He says, when I was 5.5 years old, he was a very mischievous kid, I guess, getting in a lot of trouble with the next door neighbors. He's just very hyperactive. And so his mother yells at him once, you were born in a shithole and I should have left you there. And this crushes him. A lot of times when he's 5.5 years old, a lot of times when you have trauma at that early an age, that you don't remember it, it's even worse. Right. In this case, he remembers it. And trauma is really bad if it's not addressed. This is only from my own background on like being in therapy. It's like if his mother had gone, oh my God, Harry, I didn't mean to say that. And that he might not even remembered it. Right. But he remembered his whole childhood. And when he was 20, he was saying, why'd you yell that at me? She wouldn't say. Why'd you yell? Finally, when he was 21, she told the story that when she was pregnant, she was 8.5 months pregnant. They lived in a tenement, and she went out in between the tenements was a thing called a privy, which is just basically like a hole where you could shit in, right? And she went out to go to the bathroom. She dropped 8.5 months pregnant. She dropped Harry Cohn into the shithole. And all of these women who were in the neighborhood, they saved him, and they pulled him out and everything. But it was such an embarrassing thing. So he really believed that he was a piece of shit. And he even goes on to talk about how when he's at meetings, he has to take 4 or 5 showers a day. He sweats so badly at these meetings, and he washes his hands, which I don't do. But there is an OCD. I've been in meetings where I've showered, I put mints in my mouth, and I go, I stink. I stink right now, and it is because of that. Whatever, I didn't have something like that, thank God. But whatever it is, he never got over that. He also told the doctor, I don't want anybody to find out about this. And the doctor's like, how could they find out? I mean, how would anybody find out about this? But he was so scared it would be discovered. Right. That the story would be discovered. I would be bragging about the story. Look where I came from. Right. But isn't that pretty intense?
It is, absolutely.
Yeah. I'm on to Disney now.
He's damaged in a different way.
Do you saw the Jack Warner special?
The Brothers Warner thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Neil Gabler's in that. I met Neil Gabler, name drop. I met him through Phil many years ago. He's really very bright, and I've never even read the book How the Jews Invented Hollywood. But he's great in it. And then later on, it's Susan's family is in there.
Oh, are they?
Uncle Abdul.
Abdul made the movie.
What's that?
Abdul made the movie? That's good.
It's like a 5-minute scene. He was Susan's grandfather's brother. They came from Turkey, even though they are Assyrian. They originally came from Turkey. He was Jack Warner's masseuse. He was also a boxer. And he was like Jack Warner's best friend, and the only guy Jack Warner could trust.
His confidant.
Well, he even says, I paid him $200 a week, but he would have done it for free. Really? The guy was broke. I know that his grandfather's brother was broke. I know he didn't just show up at Jack Warner's house and go, I got something to do. But he was able to. He really did love Jack Warner. Yeah. So it's just so cool to all of a sudden hear Abdul Maljan. Oh,
I missed it.
Yeah. It's really cool. Yeah, you probably, how would you have known to see it? It's during the part of the movie where they said the only people he was close to, and there was only a few people who he was close to, they died early. I thought it was a good documentary because I wish there were more of those. I'm sure there are more of those, but I wish that more of them were brought to light.
Right.
Or maybe they have all been brought to light, but I just haven't seen them.
Well, documentaries come and go very quickly.
Right, and this one was made all by the grandson, I think.
It was the granddaughter of Harry.
Oh, okay.
Warner.
Right. He could be kind of an asshole, this Jack Warner.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so crazy about all this movie stuff. I'm going to Disney next.
It's a rich tapestry. If you're off, at least you're getting away from the Jews now.
Well, now I didn't even know this. Of course, you know probably when they first shot out movies, they couldn't do close-ups that much because of the lighting.
All right.
And so it's like almost everything, like especially Columbia used to brag, no close-ups. We're not getting that. We're giving you the whole action.
All right.
So I just find that fascinating. At 40, 50 years after everybody else learned about this.
Well, they couldn't match. They couldn't color correct like they can now, you know?
Right. Also, the fact that people didn't want talkies, I just find that hilarious.
Yeah.
Because if you think back a couple of hundred years ago, wouldn't it be great if we could have moving pictures? No one ever said, wouldn't it be great to have moving pictures but you couldn't hear what they were saying?
Right.
I mean, I'm sure the desire to have both happened at the same time. They just had the visual
No,
first.
I don't think so. I think it was such novelty at the time that it scared the shit out of people initially, you know.
Yeah, I guess so. They didn't know what to make of it.
Yeah, well, and they think of like the miracle of recorded sound. You know, if suddenly you could capture a moment audio-wise when you couldn't for all of human history before that, amazing? It's a pretty big fucking miracle. You know?
Yeah, because we wouldn't have Jolson, right? We wouldn't have Jolson, or we wouldn't have who's the original guy, the crooner, Caruso. We wouldn't know what those guys sounded like, right?
Caruso was not a crooner.
He was an opera singer, maybe, right?
Yes, he was.
Oh, and then but Jolson was like, ah. Why was this so exciting? We go, you want more, baby? You mean to give you some more, sweetie?
Well, what was it? You ain't heard nothing yet.
Right, but they were afraid
and they hadn't heard because it was the first sound picture.
Oh, okay. But you know how James Brown is exhausted?
But the other thing is that we talked about this when I watched it last year. Is the Jazz Singer is mostly a silent film.
Wow, and you've watched the whole thing?
Yeah.
It's terrible, right? Or it's okay?
Well, what's compelling about it is how Jewish it is. You know, it's
right. Well, and there's blackface too. That can't be politically correct.
Well, no, I mean the Jewishness wasn't anti-Semitic.
No, but he was in blackface too.
Yes, he was because every performer was at that time doing that kind of act. Yeah.
There was a lot of racism going on when racism was an accepted thing that everyone.
I mean, there were black performers in blackface.
Right.
I'm not saying it's right or that they wanted to be. You know,
I just think it's so weird because.
But I do think it's like you can't not show the Jazz Singer because of the blackface.
Oh no, you have to show the Jazz Singer.
Yeah.
I think what you can't do. I think what was a mistake to do, because I think I told you this a long time ago, was that. With my first girlfriend, who I went out with for many years, I saw Gone with the Wind for the first time at her house on Thanksgiving. I hated the movie.
Awful.
And they were very angry at me. They were angry at me. They were saying, well, that's the way it was. No, that's not the way it was. That's the way they wanted to portray it as being that.
Right.
Right? So, but at the time I was like, oh, am I wrong? Is this the way movies were made? No, it's a racist, horrible movie from beginning to end. I guess just the personal scenes are interesting, or that you get to see George Reeves. I mean, I know it was a popular film, but it's a terrible movie.
Yeah, and I
you can't defend it.
I can't defend it, and I can't even speak to it in real detail because I was disliking it so strongly along the way that I didn't retain. You know.
Oh, I liked it the first time I saw it because I was young enough that everyone liked it. I didn't know one white person who didn't like it
I was just so bored with it.
It is boring. It is boring. Rick, I think I saw it in the movies. I think I saw it in the. I got to see some movies when I took Cinema 100, which was like, I'm not going to take this class on my first year. Watch a lot of movies. So it was really, really great. I got to see The Wizard of Oz in the theater and other things. Like when you see The Wizard of Oz in the theater, it's an amazing experience.
I took an art of cinema class in my senior year of high school, but at
a college level.
Well, I mean, it was more college level than yours apparently, because he was showing us like Buñuel and Persona, and not Wizard of Oz.
Well, he did. He showed things like he made us all watch this. That's entertainment. Just so the next week he was say, "You all watched it? Now who thinks that's a movie?" And then some hands would go up.
Wrong.
Crush them.
It's a montage.
Right. So why is that? So, and then he would play something that was called Flicker. He played experimental movies. I found out, was a very well-known, his name was Ken Jacobs. He was a very well-known, what's this type of?
Film historian?
No, making films, but an alternative filmmaker. What do they call that?
Indie filmmaker?
Yeah, like an indie filmmaker back in those days.
Art director.
Person. Yeah. But did you ever, I've never seen any of, the ones I want to see are, the guy from France who did 400 Blows. Truffaut? Yeah, I haven't seen any of his movies yet. Or many of much. I saw a couple of Bergmans. Do you like Truffaut? Or not?
I like all that stuff. Some,
Right. Yeah.
I've been through 400 Blows and Breathless and many of the French New Wave stuff movies once.
New Wave. Right. Yeah.
There's good ones.
It's probably always hard that it's our second language, obviously.
Yeah, I mean it definitely adds another sort of level of metaphor to it.
Right. Well, I love it if it's in French because I like to fancy myself as knowing some French. But because I always hear that people learn English by watching movies, so I try to for 4 or 5 minutes see if I can do it.
Right.
You can't do it.
No, you hear words that you know.
Yeah.
But you are cheating yourself.
I'm pouring myself some more coffee.
That's good. You'll have time to drink it alone.
Gonna take a little break. Gonna take a little break now. Gonna take a little break. Gonna take a little break now. Gonna take a little break.
Please stop talking for a moment.
Take a little break now. Gonna take a little break.
Please stop talking.
Gonna take a little break.
If it's in your power,
Break now. Gonna take a little break.
just stop talking
Gonna take a little break.
for a minute
Take a little break now. Gonna take a little break.
so I can stomach another hour.
Take a little break now. Gonna take a little break.
Here's what I require as a human being. No matter how loud the sound is, you display no displeasure that I could take towards me.
Right,
Even
no.
if your ears were bleeding, you'd be like, nothing, it's nothing you did.
It was actual pain. It was literal pain.
Yeah. But I still feel like you put some mustard on the pain.
No. I will admit, I'm cranky right now.
Okay, you want to tell me why?
I'm not sure if it's the kind of cranky that's going to make me funny or just going to make me a lummox, but I'll put that on the table going in.
Can you tell us why you're cranky?
I can, but I think it'll just make me more cranky, and then you'll lose interest, and I'll be mad at you too. So let's.
All right, but don't make it seem like it's my usual.
It's not.
reasoning.
I will say it's not because of you in any way.
It sounds so sad. You have to say that,
But it helped, didn't it? It helped. Admit it.
No, because I realize you don't realize how healthy I am now. I'm not even.
Good.
I'm not even narcissistic anymore.
It's all the time, but we go months without talking, and I don't know everything that's changed.
I was just talking to my friends the other day about how narcissistic we all are. I don't know. I went the wrong way.
You didn't have it exactly now.
I didn't have it, okay. Ready? I have something I have a pick to bone with you though.
Oh, okay.
Really big a pick. Okay.
Yeah, all right.
You come up with these amazing stings. Everyone loves them. They're going viral. They're going digital.
Yeah,
People
but
are talking.
two people talk about it, maybe.
That makes me so mad.
On a good week, two people.
They are so fantastic. But I realize, here's what's happening. I say something like this. I go, hey, badap. That's all my thing that gets in there. That's it. I say, how's it going? How's it going? How's it going? I want you to use some of I want to do I'd say mom deem sting. All right. But using some of my voice, I'd say mom deem. How about this one? My dog has stings. You like that one?
Well, you know what? You have your own little 8-track there.
Like a dagger in the heart. I have it. But you know my big fear is that when I finally get to it, which will be very soon, when I get to it, nobody uses any of these information. You can't even, these dials don't even operate in the current AI atmosphere. That's going to be like, you're going to be so sad when I come back with my AI stings and you spend 53 hours on these beautiful, beautiful stings and I'm able to recreate it. Did you hear that an AI thing got out or something? Jay-Z or something?
Someone put out an AI Drake track.
And it did well or something.
Yeah, it did. It got a lot of listens and then the record company had it all taken down.
It's just so funny. At some point people can say, I prefer it when Drake does it. You know what I'm saying? That's what I think what people will say. I like it better from Mick Jagger.
Yeah, I mean, but the problem is, well, there's a lot of problems and they're all thorny and complicated. But this world is based on streams now. The music business is based on streams and not sales.
Explain the difference. What does that mean? You mean like downloading?
I mean, no one's selling records anymore.
So I'm downloading. Everyone's downloading.
So if you're a rapper, if you're a rapper right now, you're bragging about the streams you have because people are listening to music on Spotify and Pandora, and it just goes by them now. So people, it's not like people care in the same way that they once did because music just sort of sails by them passively.
Yes.
So it ends up muddling it even more. If this AI thing becomes a hit,
oh god,
why
will we need musicians, right?
Well, I mean, right off the bat, there's already a copyright question of does the AI machine that generated it own the copyright to that, or does the person who fed in the request?
Oh, that's right. They have to introduce a logarithm. Did I just say logarithm? Because I didn't mean to.
Yeah.
Is there a logarithm?
You meant algorithm, but logarithm is a thing too. Yes.
But it's a math situation. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
As are algorithms, math based.
Why don't you give me a sign? SINE. Zing, zing. Yeah. So this is going to be a big mess.
By the way, that was trigonometry was the math class I passed by stapling money to my final. So.
By doing what?
Stapling money to my final. No, I didn't pass it because of that.
I know, but you got a big laugh, right?
It was the goodwill I did get a huge laugh, a legendary laugh in my school. But
I mean, how could you not? That has to be the funniest thing I would have ever seen in school. I hope it was $1.
No, it was a 5.
That's better.
But I snapped it like it was real money. Yeah.
Did you do it in front of the class?
Yes. No, because I mean, I'm sure I've told the story because I'm so fucking proud of it. But I had just fucked off my way through the entire semester of trigonometry. At some point it was like, I can't get on board with this. It's not clicking in my head, and so I shut down and I pretty much just focused on being the funny guy in math.
But you must have had nice trigonometry teachers.
Not really. They were cranky and but they like begrudgingly gave me laughs. Like, very begrudgingly. It was the science teachers who really, truly hated me. But the math teachers, I could, because I was always playing to get a laugh from the adult,
Why do the science teachers care? It's not like you're affecting science.
Yeah, but I was making a mockery.
Oh, of science?
Yes,
of the class.
Of science itself.
Yeah.
But so literally by the time it was time for the final in Trig, it was like a joke. Me doing this final was a joke, and as much as I was sort of horrified that I was failing a class because that wasn't who I was.
Right. I wow. Yeah.
it had become hilarious how little I knew on this final. And so I was just sort of sitting there chuckling to myself in the back of the room. And he goes, "Mr. Weinstein, are you done?" I went, yeah, I think I do think I'm done. And I walked up to the class, put the test on the table, took a 5 out of my thing, snapped it, put it on the paper, made a show of stapling it to the test, put it on his desk, and walked out.
And he had to instantly laugh.
Yes,
Everybody
and for the record, he gave me the 5 back in the hall a couple days later when he saw me.
But now the thing is, even in my world, well, I think it would be even more in your world. Oh, you were a stand-up comedian, but in my world, that would have been terrible because because I was very much into the SATs and how I'm going to get into college. Didn't that drag down something, your whole thing, or just was not important?
It was not important to me. I at that point, I think I pretty much knew I was going to go to the U of M. I didn't think they were. I didn't think they were going to turn me down. I was at the Ha Ha Club getting stoned till like 2 a.m. the night before my SAT. It doesn't sound like me, does it? But I really was just like, oh man. I felt so imprisoned by high school and school at that point with both my sort of, faux adulthood and my ADD, which just hated fucking being there every day, that I had to find a way to entertain myself, basically. I had to find and the last couple of years of high school was pretty much my mission was just be as funny as you can be, be Fat Ferris Bueller, whatever.
I think it's so great because the thing about it is like when I graduated, it was mostly every Jewish person I knew went to college. I was really from the middle class Jew. I mean, actually, the area I grew up with is very Italian, but right nearby was Jews.
Well, yeah, me too. I mean, I was like the first person in 3 or 4 generations of my family not to go to college. It's not.
Was that a big thing for you in terms of just a life thing, or your father or your mother, or they didn't care?
No, they cared a great deal. But it was, when it came time to actually drop out to do Mystery Science Theater, my mom was way more upset than my dad, weirdly enough, because my dad was incredibly well educated and continued educating himself throughout his life. But what he was impressed by was that I was fucking going to do something that, I was willing to face disapproval to go do what I thought was my thing. And he admired that, I think, about me.
Well, the other thing
my mom was, they weren't mad at me. And I didn't really think they were going to be mad at me. I knew they were going to be disappointed, and scared. And that's exactly what it was, is my mom was like scared that I wasn't going to have a life,
I'm going to change it to my life.
They wanted me. They liked that I was a comic and stuff. They just they wanted me to be a comic with a degree. It was just that simple. Yeah.
I'm going to change it to me, which would be they knew.
I was like trying to keep on the bull for as long as I could.
No. I just want to interject one quick thing. And I know, but you know what? It is bad. It's a bad habit I have because you were on the way to doing something. But I was going to no, you're still doing something. It's not on the way. I'm not like, I'm going to give him 2 more sentences. And if this story doesn't fly, I'm going to jump back in. No, the point is to get you for once to talk about you for once. Maybe you have something to say for once is the punchline of the joke.
Yeah.
But it's not that good. Okay, look, I've forgotten what I was going to say, and now I ruined any momentum.
It was a double sabotage. It was nice.
No, because here's what I'm saying. You are, most people upon meeting you, your vibe is, maybe because I met you and you were a writer then.
I'm very curious what my vibe is.
A very, very intelligent person. I actually don't think of, it's a very famous story that when I met my brothers, it's a whole long story. But anyway, I wasn't supposed to mention his current wife-to-be. I wasn't supposed to mention about where'd she go to college. And that's like the first thing I asked her, where'd you go to college? So where did you go to college? And then actually it brought up a lot of stuff for me that my way of relating to people is so culturally based. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, Oh, where'd you? It's like I'm on one. It's like if I was on the wire. Yeah. What's the name of somebody in the wire? I forget. Sniffer Bradley. No,
Sniffer Bradley. Yes. Yes. Let's
Sniffer
go with
Bradley.
that.
Where'd you go to school? Like I'm on the corner. I'm ready. I'm doing my thing on the corner. Hey, get out of here, fuckface. Hey, I'll punch you in the face. Hey, Sniffer Schmeckle. Where'd you go to school? Did you go to
Wharton?
Where'd you go?
Wharton.
You went to Wharton? You did go to
yes,
Wharton.
Yes.
Did you go with Trump?
Yes. Yes.
So my image of you is like, because I went to college, and it was expected that I went to college, and I didn't go. The only thing that I would never have admitted while I was going that actually was true was I was intimidated by people like B.J. Novak and intimidated by people who went to Harvard.
Right.
No.
Okay, go finish up.
I don't think that so I think most people think you went to college and
but
yes,
I don't care.
I would think you had.
I don't care.
I know
if
you
people
don't
think
care.
I went to college or not.
No.
I mean, I'm glad I come off as intelligent. Don't get me wrong. But I hope I don't come off as if I'm trying to compensate.
No,
intelligence.
That might be the beauty of what you're doing. You have no guilt about it. In other words, like you were faced with a thing where I can make a living doing this thing. Why would I possibly go to another situation right now? It wouldn't have made any sense in your life.
Well, and I would have gotten through college, and it would have been by cramming for every single fucking class at the end of every single semester, and I would have eked by, and I would have walked away feeling like I learned absolutely nothing. And I would have absorbed things, and things would have happened that were good. I'm not dismissing college.
Right, but there was no reason for it.
But at that point, I just was not ready to sit and learn anymore. I was ready to go and do and learn that way,
So, what I want to say about myself, which is I don't think is that interesting. I know we have letters to get to, but what I want to say about myself is like, I had decent SATs. I graduated high in my, high, not like a genius in my high school. I graduated high in my high school, high in my college, but not at levels of people who were like actual geniuses. Okay. I did it by really having picked a major that was just, had no technical things involved with it. Like, what would you learn in college?
Yeah.
I did take one course in math. You had to take one course.
Right. We could take logic instead of math at U of M.
Because I remember
it turns out it's still math, the logic class.
Right. And I took algebra. I thought algebra, this is so much fun. Math is fun with the algebra. Oh, no. It was geometry. Geometry was fun.
Yeah.
That was fun. I thought that was fun. But then the last thing we had to learn, which was, maybe I didn't even have to take calculus or something like that at that time. But I got out of the math situation very easily. And that's the way I was able to get through college. But I actually had a lot of I went to see the movie, The Paper Chase or whatever. And I would always have jealousy of, I was always
the
worried
real
about
academics.
Yeah. And I think that's just from my father. It had, from my father, my experience with my father, unbeknownst to him.
All right.
That he made me feel. Did I ever tell you about he made me feel stupid?
No, we'll have to get to that in another show.
Here's another aspect to it. I felt like I wasn't getting something that defined my intelligence. That's what it was too.
Yeah.
I felt like I don't understand this. It's too smart for me. Trigonometry or these things, and I will suffer at one point. I will suffer by not knowing this.
I see that I didn't have. I did feel a certain inadequacy by not being able to grasp it, really. I mean, I think there would be a way that someone could teach it to me where I would grasp it, but it wasn't happening in that situation.
Right.
And I certainly felt a certain amount of, I didn't feel stupid, but I felt inadequate. If you can distinguish between the two,
Yeah, but I think
I just kind of knew that I'm not a math guy.
Right, but doesn't it feel like inadequate mean like you really want to be a math guy and you can't? You didn't. No,
I was not adequate to the task.
Oh, that's true. Okay, so there's just a simple thing like I don't get this.
Yeah, I'm not the guy for this job.
Right. Which I'm glad I didn't go more towards math. I guess I couldn't have gone more towards anything like that. Like,
well, yeah,
like
you have to keep doing well on tests to, to really move
and
up.
Thank God that after college I didn't have to take whatever the people had to take. But I think it was like a Bill Odenkirk going all the way to be a doctorate in chemistry and then be totally bored, just completely couldn't care less about it by the time he was done.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the problem with some academic thing is that your aptitudes and your interests aren't always the same.
But did you feel like, I find like I have a problem getting in depth into issues. Did you feel like when you were doing your documentary, it has not affected your ability to like research things or understand things?
Not in any way. I've always had my own processes for things that aren't the way other people work, because I've had to adjust to the way my brain works, which is hoppity, 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 but I have, and I'm able to focus on things, and I had to do a tremendous amount of research for the Debar doc.
Right. But was it
not a tremendous amount of research?
Right, but a lot.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, the things that I'm sure you just didn't enjoy at some points were like, I know I have to get these music. I'm not going to learn anything by getting these music write-offs. So, I mean, music okays to finish the doc.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was just overwhelmingly horrible.
It was overwhelmingly horrible, and the thing with the music rights issue is that no one would get back to you. So months could pass.
Yes. Oh, I see. So it's like
where you are stuck in the same task and can't escape unless you either change your plan or find the guy I found who's going to call them and yell at them and bully them into giving me an answer one way or the other. Yeah.
Do you have to talk tough with those people if you're going to get...
because it turns out they don't want to do paperwork almost as much as I don't want to do paperwork for a $1,200 license,
I'm very proud that I think I mostly stayed with it today.
You did. I felt like it was actually, I was here. I felt like I was here.
It's so sad. It's so sad. Everything about it is very sad.
Now let's open it up for other people to feel like they're here, Andy.
Oh, I like when you do local news or evening news kind of tie-ons.
It's time for questions. What do you want to know? We love your questions so much. It's half our show. Half our show.
Pickle says, how often is L.A. fine? L.A. fine, but it ain't home, and New York's home, but it ain't mine no more. How often is L.A. fine? How's the feeling? How's the rent? Great show as always, fuckface. What, is she just drunk now? I mean, what's going on?
Pickle juice.
Pickles. Did you call her a pickle Jew?
No, I would never do that.
Okay. Dan Marsh says, huh? Now what are you going to do? I went into your territory. Dan Marsh says, hey, guys, which historical figure would you most like to heckle? That's a good one. Well, Hitler.
Well, no.
Fuck you, Hitler.
Yeah, but that ends up with you being dragged away by goons. That's the balance here.
I used to think it was Jolson.
Yeah.
Jolson, stop it with the ha, ha, ha.
Wash your face.
Douglas. Maybe Douglas at the Lincoln-Douglas debates. Hey, Douglas, you suck.
I don't know. I think Lincoln was holding his own pretty much in that one.
That's what I mean. I'm heckling Douglas.
I know, but why? He doesn't.
In other words, he's already
go somewhere where you're useful. I think is my point.
Hey, Edison. Hey, Edison. Why don't you give someone else a chance? You fuck.
If he's tweeting at you, you're podcasting right. His questions and quips are a test show's delight. Suffice it to say he is a top-tier fan. Stephen Elton Yates.
Stephen Elton Yates says, hey, Joe Andrus, thank you for the awesome theme song. I will try to live up to it. That's some fine picking, too. What am I doing here? Why do I have to be confused? Why do I have to get the multi thing? Jason, leader of the space. I don't have a whole thing.
Leader of the space werewolves. Pardon. Let's go.
Let's the three of us. That means let us, the three of us, but mostly you two, have some fun with the following idea. Take your favorite Marvel superhero from any era, and cast William Shatner in his most Captain Kirkness in that part. I think it would go a little something like this. I've already lost the thread of it. Can you do it? Because I wasn't listening to myself.
I've been bitten by a spider.
What's your favorite Marvel superhero?
I'm tingling.
You're Spider-Man. Was that you as William Shatner?
I was working up to it. And then you jumped in with, "Who are you, Bobby?"
I was thinking the other day that Jerry Lewis would have enjoyed a Tesla. I'm driving a Tesla. Shut up. Both of us.
All right.
Stephen Elton Yates is back. This Emmy, Grammy, Tony, Oscar. Which one would you most like to win? Also, since you are both polymaths, which two would you most like to win? I looked up polymaths once. What is it?
Person of multiple skills.
But why does it say maths? The dumbest guy ever to open a dictionary. Why
I
is the
don't
word
know. I'm
maths?
dumb. I didn't go to college.
That sounds like what the lady says before she wants cotton candy grapes.
It might be.
Maybe I didn't
She
go
didn't
to
seem
college.
highly educated, I'll be honest.
I would
okay, you go ahead. You pick your
Emmy.
Emmy is what you
Emmy,
want?
Oscar.
Emmy.
A 2 or 1?
Well, first your most. What's the big one you want?
You got to go with Oscar on that list.
Yeah.
Grammy doesn't mean anything. A Tony would be great if I worked for the stage. I think maybe a Tony would be if you were. But why am I putting myself in there? I think just an Oscar. Over to you, Josh, at the reaction desk.
Well, let me consider. I know a lot of people who've won Emmys, and it didn't make them any cooler. So I don't need an Emmy. I think probably an Oscar, maybe a best documentary Oscar. That's probably is about the best.
That would be very cool.
It's probably the best I can do from here, I think, is what I'm thinking.
I would not mind getting a best male actor of the year.
And then maybe a Grammy, because this probably would be the most exciting ceremony to go to. Also the most compact. It's the easiest to display in your home.
Wow.
The
Emmy
is really a tough shelf because it's got the wings behind it.
Sweet Bahara says, is it possible that Bill Maher's nose is getting even bigger? He's starting to look like Joe Camel. Thank you. Tweet, thank you, because it's Susan, and we don't normally like to say this, but it is a specific theory of my wife Susan and myself that people like him age and look more like a dick as they get older, people like him.
More like an actual
him.
Penis, or someone who's
His face looks like a penis, more and more like a penis, because that's all he cares about is his dick and his power. And so that fact that it looks like a shriveled up, that's all I got on him.
Wow. Okay. Who am I to take away your penis fantasies of Bill Maher's face? BD West says, it's late night with Andy Kindler. Josh, you're the head writer. As a favor to one of the producers, and quite frankly, with a lot of pushback, I'm in the room. Guys, do I make it to Thursday evening? I specialize in guy who thinks he has a bit but doesn't.
I got confused. I'm still a little confused by that. Oh, by the way, did you lose? Everyone lost their check, right? No checks?
The blue check's gone. It's all gone.
Oh, my God. I can't even believe. That doesn't make me as angry as the 100 people I keep losing who just then have to tell me, I didn't mean to unfollow you.
Oh, yeah?
100 people a week. At this rate, in 5,000 years, I'll be off.
Wow.
The thing. You see, that's like a
humble
bag.
brag.
Yeah, humble brag. Let's see one trick. Go ahead. Sorry, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's asking, could he work in my writer's room for your talk show? Is that I think that's the question.
Oh, okay. And what do you say?
And if you specialize in guy who thinks he has a bit but doesn't, no. I think I mean, I'm not good at firing people, so I'd probably just have to wait until your option ran out and not pick it up, because that's more passive aggressive. But
didn't you used to do the silent treatment with a couple of your writers back in the day?
You have no choice with some writers. Walt Nauta says Andy has boxes of stuff from his job in a shed he rents, right? He's not getting in trouble for keeping them, is he? Can you explain how boxes are a crime?
I can't even believe that you bring this up on the day that we went to the storage place. Me and Susan went to the storage place. And first of all, we couldn't get my lock. I had the key. I couldn't remember. It's been years. I said, I know this is the key. And the woman said, yes, that's true. That is the way the keys look. I could not open my thing.
Yeah.
Finally, it dissolved. No, the lock dissolved somehow. And somehow it's been so long that the lock maybe had slipped down and I couldn't get and then all of a sudden, beep, beep, boop, I'm in.
Okay.
And we can get in the same built right across the hall if we got a half the size that we have now. It'd be $112 a month.
You should do that.
But that's what we're going to do.
Good.
I got one great tweet out of it. No, I don't want to say great tweet. I really am like a fucking... No, seriously. This is what exists that I'm hiding.
You're hiding?
Yeah. Well, no, because I think I do try to hide it with the self-deprecation, right?
Uh-huh.
But I clearly think that I got some great tweet out of my visit to the storeroom. That's how I'm spinning it.
Yeah.
And it was about the... I don't know what show it was from. It was like, I'm on the cover and it says how to love yourself even if how to love yourself even if what's the word? If you really shouldn't.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yes.
Even if objectively you don't
deserve it, right? But so what I did notice was that I had piled them up right before I thought I had left the unit with bologna sandwiches, someone else's cat.
Right.
And what I had done, which had made me not go back there, I had spent probably 18 months organizing it. So when you went into it, it was all clean.
Oh, good.
Even though it was massive.
And there's enough, and it's pushed enough together to know that you can fit it all into that much smaller space.
We can if we get rid of what we got. We got rid of the golf clubs.
Uh-huh.
Plain paper facts, unless you want that.
Uh-huh.
And things like that. So, yeah, we have to do one more trip down there to do that.
Good.
I'm so happy. But not really because I haven't done it yet. Okay, I'm sorry. All right, I think we've covered that, right?
All right. Richard Woke as Fuck Cole says, he put AF just to be fair to him, but... Josh, my mouth was watering as you described how you were smoking, preparing, and serving duck with cherries last week. Were you pleased with the result? Andy, who does the cooking at your place? Well,
sorry,
Susan does the most of the cooking. Let me
Correct.
take care of that. I was very happy, and my wife was my wife was so happy. It was one of those bring it up the next day kind of goods.
Well, that is good.
That dinner was so good last night. Yeah, I'm still I still need one more piece of process to get the duck skin one notch crispier. I got close, but I think there's more there, and I think it might have to be pre-searing it before I smoke it to get the skin rendering a little faster and earlier in the process. That's all I have to say about that.
I tried to smoke a duck once. I couldn't get the bottle up my nose. What did you do? What was that?
I don't know.
Do that again.
I did.
That was a Charlie Callus.
It was sort of a Paul Lynde into a callus.
I went to let me tell you something right now. Charlie Callus, get out of here, Charlie. Get ready. Get in your comedy spot. This is the greatest bit I've ever seen in my life.
That's my engine room.
Hey, you in the back. You in the back, shut the fuck up and look. If I find one person not laughing hilariously at this bit, I'll throw you out of this goddamn audience. Charlie, take it away. The greatest bit I have ever seen. Charlie Callus, ladies and gentlemen.
I have a head rush now. I got a little lightheaded doing that.
Oh, God.
All right.
Can you do a Charlie Callus impression at all?
No.
Okay.
No. I'll work on it. Go ahead with your song.
How about that guy who gets the one city, but then he gets another city, and he kind of stammers? You know that guy? What is that guy? He's from Boston. He's right outside of.
You are the worst at setting shit up. You're just horrible. You could have said, "Who's the drunk guy?"
Perouche. Half the time I don't know what I'm setting up. Perouche is on fire. Pitching a new section in the show. Andy completes listeners' jokes. This week, grind set, more like
blank.
Grind set. I don't have anything yet. What do you got?
You retweeted this.
I don't know why. I think I'm drunk. No, I think there's something wrong with me. It's like I think I'm so tired of this. Of not Peruche, but I'm so freaked out by the day-to-day with the Twitter. Because I got into this new thing of just retweeting everything I tweet and then commenting because someone accused me, which still makes me laugh and be very angry. I commented on a retweet. I retweet and I comment and I go, "Great job, Kindler. You really got." And they go, "What happens when a guy forgets to use his alt account?" Like they thought,
like his burner account.
Yeah. And I got so angry at that. And the more I protested it, the more like, yeah, right. Yeah, where's the fire? Do we answer Farouche's question?
Well, it was for you. Grind set, more like...
Mindset. I think people's mindset today is really affecting the way they process reality. And I think it's hurting us. No?
I think you put a hat on that one. Mozart says... people worry about the proverbial bull in the china shop, but I don't think you'd want a bull in most shops. Even if I got a mattress store, I'm going to have a no bull policy. Let me give this a little more first year stand up zest here. Some people worry about a proverbial bull in a china shop, but I don't think you'd want a bull in most shops. Even if I had a mattress store, I'm going with I have a no bull policy. Please rank your top 5 Beatles albums in the voice of the character of your choice.
See, I think he segues because he really doesn't want us to comment on the quality of that joke.
I don't care.
Go ahead.
He's on our show now.
Take it away.
Top 5. I will do the top 5 Beatles albums in the character of my choice. I'll do it as Andy's penis.
Okay. No. Okay.
I'd be most likely to probably put on the White Album first. He's giving me the finger. Or is he saying 1, the White Album? Then perhaps Revolver, because it's fun to say in this voice, Revolver. Then I would go with Abbey Road, Let It Be, Sgt. Pepper.
Well, hey, look, Cha-Cha. I would go with, look, Chi-Chi. Hey, Choo-Choo, I would go, here's something. My favorite, here's something in medical news. My favorite, I was the White Album, and, I also like, Rubber Soul. Rubber Soul. Okay, I'm bored. I think you got all the ones that I liked.
Yeah, we covered them.
I don't mean bored with the show. I mean bored with myself.
I understand. I'm bored with you, too.
Huh? Christopher Citro says... Just been rocking out to a video of Jacques Brel singing Amsterdam in 1966, a passionate, transportive masterpiece. And I don't know French much. What are some... Oh, quel dommage. Quel dommage. What are some songs that you love which are sung in languages that you don't understand? Huh. Well, Susan has been crazy about this one that's just a great... is hilarious. There's this guy from Italy who sings like he's singing in English, but he's not singing in English. It's really amazing.
Yeah.
I wish I could cite it. He's like it's a dancing thing, and it sounds like he's doing an impression of American language, but it's not words. He's
it's like from the 60s or something, right?
Yes.
Yes, I've seen that. I mean, the truth is I am actually sort of reticent listening to music in other languages because of how my ear hears it. As I hear the lyrics so prominently,
right?
That I feel resentful that I'm missing something when I listen. Sometimes it's part of why opera is so anathema to me. But I mean, there's exceptions. I can't, like Milton Nascimento. There's stuff that's beautiful. It's one of my narrow-minded traits because I'm so word-oriented that it bothers me not to know what's being said.
I mean, I've heard things I like, but I wouldn't be able, not enough that I would be able to know, be able to go, oh, who doesn't say that song, right? Who doesn't say Frere Jacques? That's not a good example of it.
A third Jew says, I heard Pump It Up on the radio yesterday, and man, did it ever sound exactly like Wild Wild West, a cheesy 80s song by one-hit wonder Escape Club. pretty much note for note at times. Have you ever noticed that? Did Elvis sue the shit out of them? Would you have? I used to sing, I've been on tender hooks, ended in dirty looks, listen to the music, thinking about this and that, she said that's that, I don't want to chitter chat, turn it down a little bit and turn it down flat. Over the verses of Wild Wild West every time it came on.
That was very impressive to me. Is there any truth? I'm not going to comment except to ask, is there any truth?
And no, I don't think Elvis sued them. And
no, do you see the similarity?
Absolutely. That's why I'm saying I used to sing it over the song.
Oh, you're saying I missed that you were saying that because I was listening to your thing. So now I have to hear Wild Wild West, bump bump, Wild Wild West. Is that the song?
No.
What am I thinking of?
I don't know.
All right, so I'm bad with this, but I'm very curious to hear something butchered like that, and that wasn't sued on. Should have been sued upon.
Well,
I'm very tired.
Go to YouTube and type in the song "Wild Wild West" and you'll hear that.
It's not like dum bum 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 do Wild Wild West. That's not it.
No.
What am I doing? I said that 7 minutes ago. I said that 5 minutes ago. No, 30 seconds ago. Sous Vide says, would you, not good. What is this? I don't know who I am. Sous Vide says, would you wear a Prince Valiant wig in public for a year? No exceptions. For $250,000? Yes. Sold.
Right.
Actually, that's not a lot of money, is it?
Yeah, I mean,
it is.
Well, I mean, it's mitigated by the fact that we don't go out in public all that much.
That's true, but is it tax? Is that before taxes? If it was after taxes, yes.
You want $250? You want like a MacArthur grant?
I don't have. Oh, I just realized it's not a hat.
No, it's a wig. It's a Prince Valiant wig.
I'd do it.
But based on this photo, you could actually wear a hat over it.
I like it. I like that. I like it. I'm going to do it.
I want more. I'm afraid.
Can you contact us off the air, Sous Vide, please?
Roger says,
you did it.
I'm tired of you.
You're so tired of me. Not me per se.
No, you on the head. You nail on. Roger says, how do you feel about Twitter taking away verified accounts? I know we're all waiting for this to end, but I think Musk is coaxing it to hurry the hell up.
Well, I thought today, I almost tweeted about it today, just something stupid or funny. I was like, this is even beyond. I just don't care. I really don't care anymore about him. I mean, I do. It does hurt my feelings that there was the basis of being verified was really part of it for me was that, for example, there was somebody else who was Andy Kindler, who I actually know him, and he was like, so they actually called him. I don't know how it happened. They said, oh, no, it's fine. It's because I was following Pete Townsend on Twitter and on Facebook. And thinking it was Pete Townsend, it just was it wasn't what he's made it out to be at the end. It was just a verification thing in a way.
No,
right?
But it became a status symbol, certainly.
Okay, you're right. Why can't I stop my arguments
as soon as
they're good?
Once he did his thing, it's like, nope, it's not a status symbol anymore. Simple enough.
He's just basically saying he wants us to pay money. That's all he's saying.
Well, and he believed that people held that status symbol so dear that they would panic losing it. Yeah.
But then it doesn't mean anything if everybody has it. It's like having a
right, or if
AAA.
everybody doesn't have it.
That's right. But I've been thinking more and more. It's like it is like what are those gas stations that say AST, ASC?
But it absolutely feels like it was just his rage at cool kids.
Yes.
That made him attack it in that way, which is really short-sighted because it's the cool kids that draw people to the site and provide the content on the site for the most part, or at least that's how it was at a certain point.
Well, I think it also just shows he's just a despicable person. Nobody comes in and who's an actual human being and starts firing everybody for no reason. And it's not like, it's just bullshit, coming in and it's like as if some rich asshole, which he is, overpaid for this thing. And he doesn't know what to do. And he's a nut. He's just a horrible human, and he shows every day more and more what a horrible human
I mean,
he is.
there used to be some mystery to a tycoon.
I know that.
You know? Just the word tycoon told you that they were somehow separate, you know, and that we shouldn't intermingle.
I'll give you a perfect example. Ted Turner. I thought he did a good job. He liked conservation. He hated Lou Dobbs. He thought that CNN went fucked up. I mean, he had he wanted to have a cable channel, but I think I'm even overvaluing what you're talking about when you say tycoon.
Yeah.
Because most tycoons did not contribute anything, really.
Well, I mean, I don't know if
they can.
I mean, yeah, I don't think that's the point. The point is that
exactly
is that, you know, when you see just how flawed and human on such a microscopic level this person is, it becomes you know, they don't have anything to buffer them from bad will. You know,
because they are. He is mean-spirited. He doesn't think about anything to do with you're fired. He's just like anybody.
Well, yeah, it's like we've all met this fucking guy.
He's like Tucker Carlson.
He didn't have billions and billions of dollars, but we've all met this fucking guy.
Yeah.
You know?
That's true.
And we all don't want him in charge of us.
And the fact that he's not funny just kills him. It kills him.
Yes.
Oh, except that he's so full of himself. He thinks he is on the edge of thinking he's a genius, humor-wise.
Well, no, it's just he will go. He doesn't care who he's getting the laugh from anymore.
Right.
You know, as long as someone is there.
It's just like he didn't care about smearing Paul Pelosi. It's not like he went, oh, shit, I shouldn't have done that, but I'm not going to admit to it. He couldn't care less.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a bad guy.
Johnny Whoops says, watching the Phoenix Suns play basketball, if they started nowadays, I bet they'd just call them the Sun, as in the Phoenix Sun. Anyway, that's my postseason analysis.
Are they not doing well?
No, they're up 2-1 over the Clippers right now.
And how about the Knicks?
The Knicks are tied at a game apiece.
I don't really understand. That went by me because I'm not very bright because my dad. 20 minutes into the latest Spade Carvey. Oh, Julian.
Okay. Julian Valentich says, go for it. All right, I'll do it.
20 minutes into the latest Spade Carvey podcast with guest Ray Romano. Andy was. Oh, wait a second. Hold on. Can you read this to me? Because I think it's going to sound better you reading it unless you really sell it out.
You just want room for your erection to possibly grow.
Get ready. Here comes a compliment.
20 minutes into the latest Spade Carvey podcast with guest Ray Romano, Andy was called hysterical and very funny during a discussion about his and Ray's HBO's Young Comedian special. Andy, any recollections of that special? Bits you did, vibe, etc.? Oh, no, now Andy has to be nice to Spade and Carvey because they said something nice about him. Oh,
wait a second. I've never not been nice to Spade and Carvey.
Sure.
I like both those guys.
Sure.
Why are you putting me on the thing now? I've never.
Okay. Do your chickens make a terrible house pet impression and say how nice you are to Carvey.
Well, that's,
do your David
Oh, chicken. Well, because here's the thing. I almost could see myself trying to sell that bit and then being in trouble for it. But okay, here's the thing.
Right. Recollections of the Young Comedian special.
Well, David Spade was there. I guess I've said that a million times, right? That he was at at my Young Comedian special.
Okay, and was Ray Romano the host, or was he the?
He was another comedian with me.
Yeah.
Dana Carvey was the host.
Wow, they all really passed you. Wow.
Huh?
Nothing.
Oh, okay. I gotta tell you, when you hear that, it's maybe the microphones. Look, David Spade was so encouraging. I thought he was great. And Dana Carvey could not have been a nicer person. And in fact, Dana Carvey was really nice when we met him at a hotel right after his heart operation with my brother. He's a very sweet person. I had a great time on that special. The only thing I'll say is that, no, there's nothing negative. I wish I could have done it again, not be so incredibly nervous. I just don't think, like when I look back at it, there was two things. I see my they cut between two sets. So my things out of my pocket. What's it called when your pocket is showing?
Your pocket.
Out of your pocket.
Yeah.
So it shows in one. Yeah. It shows in one. It's back in two. Shows in one. Back in two.
Because we did two sets.
Yes. I I'm very proud of the fact that I used the C word in that context for that show, and that was ballsy, and I thought it was the right thing to do. But it's hard to look at it because I think I was so nervous, that I still don't connect that to myself now as a comedian. I remember being very nervous.
Yeah.
So
did you use the tape as a hot piece of tape after that, for example?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think so. I think there were a few things that happened.
That had to have been
time.
Your biggest credit at the moment.
Yeah, and very quickly after that. Oh, but you know what? Nothing came. The only thing that came from that, Carolyn Strauss was very friendly with me.
Yeah.
And I was very friendly with her.
She was
then we had a terrible
she was an
falling.
HBO exec for those.
And we had a terrible falling out later on. Terrible falling out.
Really?
Just a horrible. Can I say it, or would I get sued, or it doesn't matter?
It's your
Don't say it.
It's your perspective.
Okay, so I don't remember the exact how it actually went out chronologically or whatever, but I was signed to do like an HBO special, plus like a deal for to do like an overall deal. That's what I'm trying to say. It was an overall deal. That Friday, and then we were supposed to start negotiations with HBO the next week. That Friday, I got cast in a show called The Breaks, which came out the exact same year that Ray Romano show. So all of this stuff had to be not exactly right after The Young Comedians. It was a couple of years.
Yeah. But it was during your hot period.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, I'm letting you say that. But the thing is, I get cast in this. So Bruce, my agent now manager, Bruce, says, look, we're just going to take this deal, The Breaks. And then Monday, we had to say yes on it because they were going to series, to make the pilot. And so, and they said, and already HBO had been, it's a longer story about HBO being already playing hardball with me.
Yeah.
They're telling me, we want you to come down to the comedy, to the Laugh Factory and start working on your set. And I go, I don't like the Laugh Factory. Nevertheless, be down at the Laugh before the deal is done, right?
Really? Okay.
Okay. So we take it, and then that Monday, HBO gets really angry. They accuse us of, my lawyer at that time was Peter Nelson, and they accuse us of literally breaking the law in a way. Their idea of the law was, we had offered something and you had agreed verbally to do it. And so, the fact that so what we wanted to do was, let's see how
you were in breach of imaginary contract, is what they were saying.
That's what they're saying.
Okay. and
they're saying that's then maybe, and I think there was a certain show business thing where if I say I'm going to do it, and then, but at any rate, they got really angry. I had a big yelling match with Carol and Strauss. What we had proposed back was, can we? Obviously, I've been casting a sitcom. I want to see where it goes, and then I'll do a special with you guys. And if the sitcom doesn't go, it's I still want to do the special, or whatever. They were like, no, you can't tell HBO what to do. I had a big yelling match with her once at the Improv. And you know what I realized years later? I realized years later that it was during the time period where I felt if I wasn't a perfect person, I had to be perfect to argue these things. I had to prove that Jay Leno was a hack. I had to prove that I was right to take this kind of thing.
Right.
But years later, I realized this woman who was friends with me, ostensibly, who was friends with me, was literally going to stop me from doing a sitcom. Or, in other words, as if I purposely took this audition and got cast in the sitcom just to give it to the HBO. And that's what I took long term, was regardless of whether they said they had a verbal or they didn't have a verbal, on a human basis, that someone who was a friend of yours would get upset because you got offered a part, especially someone who knows in this business. HBO knows that I made that their overall deal might not produce anything.
Right.
It's not going to necessarily produce. So
no, but where they're coming from, if something does happen with this Kindler guy, we want to be responsible for it.
Right. Well, but to me, it was more like you're taking I reacted at the time like you're taking this opportunity away from me. And I think ultimately and then they blamed it on my manager. That's the worst thing. They went, it's Bruce's fault. He went for too much. It was just really hideous. It was just a hideous experience.
He's Svengali you into this. I win. But but I mean, I've had that happen too, where you're dealing with somebody who, if they get thwarted from their plan in any way, they will fucking turn on you like that.
Yes. Yes.
I've had that happen more than once, where it went from you're a genius to, you're evil.
Wow. Yeah. It's such a weird, and I think of you as I thought of myself as I thought of myself because I wanted to it's just the whole thing because I didn't understand who I was. And I just wanted to think, I always would take it in like, I must be a bad person. I must be and then I would fight against that. Fuck you. I deserve to have. So, I was kind of like when I got into the argument with Carolyn, I was like a kind of a hothead, but not a hothead. I just was angry. Whereas you, I think back then, my image is that you still were more reasonable as a person, probably.
Probably because I don't fly into any kind of anything,
Right.
But
right.
What I did for too long, I feel like, is let people speak for me in those situations when I feel like I probably could have done a better job. Not the actual negotiating dollars, but
your position
in terms of communicating, I feel like there were times where I think my attitude got misrepresented from my side.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And I liked the years that I went unrepresented. There was there was lots of things about the adulthood of that I enjoyed.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Making my own deals and things,
Right. Because ultimately that can be ultimately it's not like you start out wanting to do that, but
and much of this business is designed to infantilize talent, because of all the commissioned nannies,
It's just, it's such a weird, it is. The thing is, like, when I went with the thing with Comedy Central, I won't even go into it, but the fact that they made me feel like bad, like, oh, you want your girlfriend to work on the thing. It's like, all those things were like planned from their side, and all those things were like surprises to me. Right. Like, I just never dealt with that. You don't want to make a good show because you want to make a, point that I shouldn't, she doesn't have a paid position.
Right.
So, I'm sorry, I got too far afield there.
That's all right. Chaotic Neutral says, hey guys, ran across an article about the Who Jackie story. Briefly, a writer on Roseanne.
Right.
No, Lori, I'm just saying what I'm reading.
Yeah.
I know you know. Hey guys, ran across an article about the Who Jackie story. Briefly, a writer on Roseanne didn't know Laurie Metcalf's character's name after working there a while. Was curious to hear Jelvis's take.
That's you.
That is me. What's weird is the guy who wrote the article actually called me about it. And I was like, I basically know the story, but I wasn't there. I wasn't on Roseanne. I know people who were, and I kind of pointed him in a couple people's directions. But the story, this was in Vulture, I think, the story. And it presents as this legendary, constant presence, this, like the aristocrats or something. Like it's this,
right.
And I've heard the story like years and years ago, and obviously, but I also haven't been in sitcom rooms for years and years. So,
yes.
The fact that this happened on Roseanne, what it was Dave Tyree was the guy. He was dragged onto the staff by Roseanne in the late seasons as a comic, and basically at a story meeting pitched something about Roseanne having a sister, and someone went, well, there's Jackie. And he's like, who Jackie? But then, like, Norm Macdonald told the story on a podcast, and, really what it is, in my opinion, as I've heard it told, is really an opportunity for white writers to be racist and tell a story in dialect.
No, that's the way it sounds to me. As you're saying it, I start to feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, and they touch on that in the article. I read the article, and one person even said, he was telling the story, and then a black guy came in and he told it without the dialect, the black accent.
Right.
And it didn't, it got nothing. So it's right there. It's sort of, the undertone of it is white guys going, see what happens when you bring a black guy in the room,
there is so much of that part of it, even if it's unconscious prejudice.
Right. And it's a funny story on its face in terms of just any writer being on a show and being so oblivious to not know one of the main characters is funny for sure. But the reason the story has lived, because I've seen things at least that stupid in many rooms. The reason it's lived on is a couple things. One, because the Radford lot where this happened, the CBS Radford lot where Roseanne was, first of all, Roseanne had 35 or 36 writers on her staff at that point. So they all had the story. Plus there was Seinfeld. There was there was a ton of big shows on this small lot going down. So the diaspora of all the people who were writing on the lot and heard that story at that time is still very much alive in the sitcom business. So there's tons of writers who heard that story secondhand at the time who have taken it as if they were there telling it firsthand, and it's lived on because everyone has the story to tell in the new room they go to,
It's like I first heard of it on 30 Rock or whatever, and it's like I never really even thought about that much, but now that you say it, it just came clear to me that the joke should be, who's Jackie? That is the joke.
The fact that it's who Jackie.
The fact that it's who Jackie is fucked up from the beginning.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because there was a lot of racism back then, and it was even worse back then.
But
rooms.
The best thing about it though is they got in touch with Dave Tyree for this story. Did you read the story?
No. Is it out now?
It's out now in Vulture, and
okay.
And his response, and he's retired from show business and didn't even want to talk about it, but he was like, I hope that when people tell the story, it won't be some black guy. It'll be Dave Tyree, because sure, it was an embarrassing thing, but then once it became funny, it was funny, and my job is for funny. So
that's good. I'm taking it right down on my thing. Why don't you read the last question of our life?
I wish it was of our life, but we still have the gram. Greg Kelly.
Please don't call it the gram.
I'm calling it the gram. Okay. Greg Kelly says the life and career of Robbie Benson. Thoughts? I have nothing but good wishes for Robbie Benson and his life and career. He, was a compelling, if not great actor.
Is he alive?
Yeah, he directs. He directs TV.
Oh, okay. I got scared there for a second.
Yeah, he directs TV sitcoms, I think, mostly.
The movies I saw him, I enjoyed.
One-on-One is the one that comes to mind.
Oh, the basketball thing. He was great, right?
Yeah, sure.
Right. That's an odd pick. But, it's like the person, Greg could be asking from a totally, he likes Robbie Benson.
We don't know that. We don't know that.
But the first thing to think of when someone goes, because of the character of the people normally write in, these knuckleheads are right in, Hey, what do you fucking think? You
think we
this
should take
one's
shots
back
at him?
Yeah. Guess who's back? Dennis Miller or somebody. All right. I think we're good with this section. Did we answer it? Did I answer it? Thank you, Greg Kelly. And thank you, everybody. I'll see you later. If you want to order directly from me a cup of coffee separately from the show, go to AndyKindler.coffee. Oh, Josh, I'd like to say, I don't know if this is right, but I've set up my own cup of coffee for people who just want to support me.
All right.
If you want to support both of us, but if you think I need to, oh, by the way, happy 420. How'd you do?
I did nothing.
You didn't do it?
I did nothing.
I did it.
You went to a pot store and waited in line?
I got the $200 bag. No, there wasn't. I mean, there was a line.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that long. I got the $200 bag.
What was the $200 bag?
You can get a $100 bag, a $50 bag, maybe a $100 bag, or a $200 bag.
Yeah.
I got the $200 bag, which means you get the most free things.
Huh. All right.
Malted milk balls. I got an eighth of weed. I mean, it's like unbelievable.
That's fantastic.
I'm so sorry I brought it up. All right, let's go. Are we going to Instagram now?
I'm there. I'm going to start.
Oh, okay, buddy. Go ahead, buddy.
Terrence Caulfield says, when you have an earworm of a song you can't stand, is there another song you sing to yourself to drown out the bad one? It's not a big problem for me because it's real. I'm a big, the most recent song will pretty much become my earworm until the next song replaces it. So one of my strategies is to just play the song that's bothering me.
I saw Play Misty from not that that's an earworm song, but I saw that movie again, and I had forgotten what that movie gets a little stabby.
It's stabby. Dan Murphy 725 says, "Have either of you watched the new doc on David Johansen?" No, I haven't, but I like David Johansen.
I'd like to see it.
He was.
Where's it on?
I don't know. We'll find it though.
Wait, you're talking about the New York Dolls. I thought it was David Jansen. I'm not even being funny.
Yeah. No, you're not. But I am. I'm a delight. Bruce Colton says, Spike, can you imagine if Howard Cosell and Droopy teamed up to call a pen and
Is it Bryce?
What did I say?
Bruce.
Sorry. Bryce Colton says, well, fuck.
Do it again.
You just took the wind out of my sails.
Okay, I'll do it.
All right.
I'll do it. Bryce Colton said, Spike, can you imagine if Howard Cosell and Droopy teamed up to call a pennant-clinching home run by the New York Mets, Pete Alonso? Let me ask you a question. Would this involve me having to hear a Droopy impression? I can't imagine it. Go on to the next one. I'm angry. Now I'm angry.
Josh, if you have it in you today, it would be fun to hear Huell Hauser on camera encountering a laughing baby. Thanks again for you and Andy. Well, it's fantastic to hear you. It's I've been asked for in so long that I don't even know where my voice is coming from anymore. But we're here at the Los Feliz Orphanage talking with Mary Johnson, the head of the orphanage. I see a lot of very unhappy babies here. Are there any happy babies here in the orphanage?
Delicious Mix says, you guys like the band Little Birdie? I do not know that band.
I don't know the band either.
But I'm willing to hear.
You know what we are? Old. Moving on.
I'm worried about this next one, so I'm going to have you decide whether to read it.
All right. Zeke Fossey says, who had a big problem for us last week, is back with another, apparently. You guys always know what's what, and I hope you can help me again today. In the past week, I've witnessed 2 kids hurt my 5-year-old child, and the parents have done nothing. I am losing my shit. The first was a sibling of a friend who pushed her down and twisted her arm. The mom told her to stop, but she let him keep pushing both little kids around until he lost interest. The second was a classmate at a group play date who body slammed my kid and laughed when she cried. The mom told the little prick to calm down and then went back to her conversation. Both times we left the situation earlier than we planned to get my kid away from the bullies. But next time, should I say something or just sigh and leave? What could I say that doesn't sound like I'm judging them, but she also lets me stick up for my kid? Should I care about judging them? Am I being a puss? Then she let my kid learn the law of the playground?
I would say that this can dovetail with my feeling before I took therapy, that at some point I was going to have to fight someone like in the movie One Tin Soldier Fights. What's that one called? Billy Jack?
Yeah.
And then I realized, like, no, I have a problem with my own masculinity. It has nothing to do with it. So I think that's a little bit what's happening here. There's nothing, whether you decide to say something or not, you don't have to say something like you're in a movie.
I think that's a good point. I think.
Why are you being so nice to me? It's disturbing.
But yeah, no, I don't think you have to make a heroic speech, but I do think that, whenever there's, you have to protect your kid. So if you're the one setting up play dates, which clearly you are, then I think that might be the time to talk to the parent and say, I'm concerned about our kids getting together because of what happened last time. Or,
Right.
I need your assurance that you're going to, help, protect my child.
I think I'm not very helpful when I just allow things to tap into my own issues. Now I think of my father and the guy who took the baseball away from my brother, and then my father didn't stand up and throw him out of the grandstand, that kind of thing.
All right. But, but I've never had a 5-year-old. I started at 8. I started at age 8 with my parenting. So.
That's pretty cool. How'd you reg that? Daisy Petunia says, what's your skincare routine? Well, I'm not afraid to tell you. I have things I take for the psoriasis. That's terrible. Who cares? But I do use sunscreen on my face, and I use this what's it called? CeraVe moisturizing cream for my arms and my little back.
Yeah, and do you? Why do you want your arms to get skin cancer and not your face?
I realized this last week that I always forget to put sunscreen on my arms and my legs. Yeah. And so I think I'm playing some kind of stupid poker game.
I think you are.
Yeah.
Lather up, my friend.
I will from now on.
I'm from a melanoma family. Don't fuck around.
Oh, okay. I feel worse. I will do it. Because I walk a lot. I don't know if you know that. Also, I believe in God. Padrag Beer says, they said I wouldn't amount to anything, and look at me now. That is a good point. And you're looking in a mirror.
Moldy Lock says, Josh, I'm becoming increasingly worried that your Jimmy Stewart impression is sounding more and more like your Huell Hauser. My Huell Hauser is complete shit now, so I don't know what the hell's happening.
Well, I think you probably were thinking about that while you were doing it.
Has one ever seen Jimmy and Huell in the same room? Hashtag 2 dogs in 1 bun.
I'm going to do both of them instead of you.
All right.
Hey, hello, you stupid goddamn savings and loan. Kiss my ass. Potter. Hey, Potter. Here's something for... Jenny, let me just tell you something, Jenny. You play you play the piano. It makes me want to kill myself, Jenny.
Okay, now do Jimmy Stewart.
Okay.
Now, are you telling me that you put all of these bodies in the casket at this mortuary?
Yeah, it's
wow.
hard. It's hard. It gets harder, doesn't it?
It's hard. It's hard to do.
I don't know.
It's really tough.
Full Dork says, how do you know when to give up on a career or a hobby and focus on something else? For instance, what made Andy finally stop trying to be Bob Dylan and instead become one of the best comedians in the world?
Well, I like that.
Josh, not sure you've ever been not great at something, but same question for you if it's happened. Wow, my first glance, I thought this was a slam on me when he said,
but no.
Yeah, I didn't see the knot. I literally thought it was going to be, Josh, I don't know if you've ever been great at something. So now that was a compliment now.
Absolutely. And I think that, now I know that the way I was going about making music, didn't realize how hard I was being on myself. And I think that by just having to stop for a while, and also I think, I couldn't think of anything. My generation, you wouldn't think of coming and going, I got to be a stand-up comedian when I'm older. I mean, it just wouldn't. I mean, even though I knew Richard Pryor a little bit.
Right.
I think it just was a matter of, I was so frustrated that I decided to try comedy.
Yeah.
Trying comedy was a separate thing, actually.
Right.
It wasn't like
the same day. I'm going to give up music and try comedy.
Right. It was like a year later I get into this.
Right. Before this last question, I want, because I'm looking ahead, I just want to say, if you want to support the show, go to buymeacoffee.com/thoughtspiral and buy us a coffee. Now, Danger Dan Wade says, hi, Josh. Hi, Squeaky. Can I get some advice, podcaster to podcaster? And he's being our friend here. I find that the end of my episodes drag a little. Any advice on tightening up the ending? And we'll take his cue.
You want more, baby? You want me to give you some more, sweetie?